So, fun story with Kyle. We met at, I mean, I've known you for a minute.
5 years, so it's
yeah.
online.
But Alec got married. So, I was one of the groomsmen. I've never been a groomsman. I've only done 42 Indian weddings. And for anyone who knows anything about Indian weddings, they go 3 days long. They're absolutely insane. And so, I got to do that, which was really cool. But Kyle was there, and so Kyle and I were just talking about lead gen and our businesses and all these different things. And I think, was it you who brought up the idea of like helping me get referrals into unemployable?
Yeah, generating leads for you.
Yeah, so he just kind of threw this idea out there. He's like, I know people who are kind of interested in the space. Can I like refer them over to you and get a cut? And I was like, yeah, why not? Last month, I think 40 new students came in from him, and his affiliate cut as the side hobby referral little thing we casually talked about. He got paid $30,000 last month just from me, excluding the other, 30 grand you make in lead gen. So, yeah, it just shows you, I think the biggest thing that was an epiphany for me is that, it's all lead gen. All of this is lead gen, right? Setting a referral to this it's all the same thing. So just know that whatever you learn in a local setting, these are business fundamentals that go across the board. Every business is really three things. We have a product, there's a way to market, right? Every business is, you have the product, you have some way to market, right, to prospect, to get it out there to the world, and then there's some process to turn that audience into sales. That is it. Literally, that's every business. We can talk about Apple, right? Now, it might be a little different than, Apple has the Apple stores, right? They go run television ads. But every business has those frameworks in mind. So I want you to come into this event today with all these different strategies. Think of it from a businessman, a businesswoman's perspective. Don't think so small that this only applies to a little drag and drop website. These skills are skills that will help you across the board in all business, all deal making. So, yeah, Kyle, get it away. We need to mic you, though.
Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, can everybody hear me pretty well? It's pretty...
Well, that's not for them.
Oh, good.
For the people who aren't here.
Else. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Beyond just like doing it for, small businesses, like if there's another product or a service or a company that you want to generate leads for, it's really just comes down to doing a Google search for what you think that will it be fine if I put this in my pocket? Doing a Google search for what you think that customer would be typing in to find that product or service, and look at those front page results. Be like, okay, who's here? And why are they here? Are the first results YouTube? Maybe I have to make a YouTube video to get to the front page of that. Is it top results Reddit? Is it LinkedIn? It's lead generation. You look at the front page of Google, things change over time. As you may notice, Reddit's showing up a lot in the front page. So you don't just sit there and be like, oh shit, my SEO is not working anymore. You go, okay, how do I get on the top of Reddit? How do I show up on Google on Reddit? How do I do it on LinkedIn? How do I do it on YouTube, So I've been really having fun working with Shiv because it did take me outside my box of website GMB. I'm doing stuff on TikTok. I'm doing stuff on YouTube. And it's blowing my mind how many leads I'm generating from these new sources. So that's my little riff to help you guys expand your view. But this presentation, the core of it is going to be about closing a trial in 5 minutes or less. I've been doing the same exact sales pitch for 4 years now. And it started off about 20 minutes long. And over time, I started realizing there's a lot of fluff in there that's not necessary just to get somebody on a trial. And I've condensed it down to 5 minutes. And the client maybe says 10 words. At the end of the call, he's like, oh, yeah, sure. Hook me up. Let's go. And the leads sell themselves, That's the goal, is for the leads to do the heavy lifting. So, but I'm going to start off, while I was sitting there, I made a few notes. I thought I'd talk about a few other things before I got right into the script. So my journey, the way I started, I went to college and University of Texas for radio, television, and film. Since I was 16, I had dreams of becoming a live TV director. Like I wanted to direct the Super Bowl halftime show one day. And I got into the industry, and when I was around like 22 or so, and I worked on all like the coolest shows you see on TV, like the Oscars, the Emmys, the VMAs, working my way up the ladder there. But it was like freelance work, and I was only making money when somebody gave me the opportunity to make money. I'd work a gig for maybe a month, and then all of a sudden the phone wouldn't ring for 6 months, right? And after doing that for 10 years, I was like, this is just this is just no way to really live your life. I can't start a family with this. I can't be depending on other people to give me the opportunity to make money. So I started experimenting with things. I started trying things like drop shipping. I spent a year and a half waking up at 5 a.m. to day trade in the mornings, you know. Wife didn't like that. And I just did all these different things. I remember it was really almost like a movie. Like, I remember there was a day where I had been doing really well at day trading for 7 days in a row. I was like, I think I finally figured it out, right? Then Friday came along and I took one trade and lost everything that I made the previous week, right? And I was like, you know what, I'm done. I said, I'm taking a week off of trying to figure out new ways of making money. I'm just gonna sit back and, you know, reset and watch movies on the couch and be depressed, right? And I sat on the couch and I was just messing around on Facebook or Google, and I just stumbled across this business model. I'm like, holy shit, just like all you guys, this makes so much fucking sense. And it just clicked with me, and I just doubled down, went into it, and by month 3 of me learning, I was able to land my first client. And I know that's not necessarily typical results, but that leads me into landing my first client. I was like super desperate to make a change in my life. You know, I was like really hungry. Like, I knew that I had to figure something else out, or else I was gonna freaking, you know, jump off a freaking cliff if I didn't fucking figure something else out. That's how freaking motivated I was. And so before I even knew how to rank a website, I had never ranked a website in my life. I literally just made a list of all the people I know who are business owners in my Facebook contacts list, to anybody from I've talked to them once to somebody I was close friends with in high school. I made a short list, went through my Facebook contacts, went through my cell phone, and made a short list of all the people I knew who were business owners that maybe already pay for ads or something. And I found one guy that was an attorney, and I shot him a screencast video. I said, hey, look, you're based in Los Angeles, but I can get you calls over in Riverside, Anaheim, blah, 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 with different websites in all these different areas and specialize. And he was really sold on the idea. You know, he was like, this actually makes a lot of sense. How do we get started? And I said, I just made up a fucking number. I was like, how about $6,000 to start? Boom, that night he wired it over to me. And I had $6,000 in my pocket. I outsourced the whole frickin' build out, and I paid for ready-made sites, and then I just prayed that leads were gonna come in. You know, I got the Google business listings up, and but the other thing I told him, because it was somebody I knew and I knew this was on me to deliver, I told him, like, listen, you know, if you don't get enough leads to make back the money you just sent me, I'll give you a full refund, right? And, you know, for a lot of you, that might be freaking scary because you're like, I can't freaking afford that, you know? But the good thing about it is I lit a fire under my ass. It put extra pressure on me to actually execute and move forward faster, because if you have all the time in the world, you're gonna slack. But if you have somebody breathing over your neck that just sent you freaking six grand, you know, and at the time that was a lot of money to me, then you're gonna push harder. But I don't wanna drag too long on this, but I just wanna say that, like, don't overcomplicate this business model. Follow what Shiv teaches. It's really not any more complicated than that. Don't start mixing and matching strategies. We know this works. The steps that Shiv teach is work. And the people who have the most success in this business, and the person I think about the most is freaking Alec over here, you have to be like a robot in the sponge. You absorb the information and regurgitate it and do nothing more than that, you know? And Alec is very good at that, at keeping things simple, and he just repeats. When you land that client, that first client, all you have to do is look back and be like, what did I do to land that one client? And just do that over and over and over again. Don't try and be fancy with it. Don't be like, oh, how do I improve this? No, just do that same thing over and over and over and over again. And you will, before you even know it, you're making 20, 30 grand a month. All right? That's why this presentation I'm doing is literally, I could be playing video games, giving this, doing this pitch, and the words just come out of my mouth because I've said it so many times. And Alec knows, and he gets on me about it. I get sick of freaking giving the pitch, and I don't want to make calls that week because I'm just so over just like regurgitating those words, right? But I'm going to give you guys this script. Don't share it with anybody. This is just for you guys. But I'm not saying this is going to be the most genius script ever. It's not going to be like, oh my God, like, how did he think of that? It's just, I've refined it over time, and I've tested it hundreds of times, and there are subtle reasons why it works, and you'll see why it works. All right? A lot of this has to do with the tone of how you're presenting it, okay? All right, so I'm gonna really try and exude the tone with my adrenaline pumping through my veins right now at the same time. But the goal is to really come across as like, dude, I'm in a situation, I'm just some dumbass who made a freaking site and I need somebody to get leads, give me leads. Because all these business owners that you're calling, they're so annoyed by marketers calling them. They hate it when, hey, can I speak with your marketing director? I want to know if we could provide a great solution for you guys. Like, who the hell wants to entertain that, right? I am a guy going to these business owners with a problem that I need their help fixing, all right? So this is kind of how I go about it, all right? I go, hey, you guys do junk removal in Austin, Texas? They're like, yeah, we sure do. All right, so I got an interesting situation. My partner and I, we were working with another company in the area who hired us to get them more phone calls for junk removal work in Austin, all right? Well, we managed to get around like 40 to 50 calls a month, but these guys can no longer take these calls. So I'm calling around to see if any other companies in the area would be willing to entertain a conversation about taking over these 40 to 50 calls we're generating every month. All right, so what that does by saying, hey, we were working with another company and we did all this work for them, but now they're gone and I'm left with all these leads. Could you help me? You know, it's kind of giving a message of like, he's not trying to sell me anything. He's just got these leads that like, you know, he was doing it for somebody else and somebody else in the area was getting 40 to 50 calls. Like, I want to take those calls from him. It kind of just gets their head working, and the tone that I'm giving it in is really kind of like, look, we're in a corner, you know, and let's see if we can do something here, right? So say that, and I go, is that something you'd be remotely interested in talking about? You know, let them know that I'm just a normal person. I don't want to waste your time, right? You're being polite, you know? And if they say no, then you just hang up, literally, you know, because if they don't want more jobs, then they're not going to be a good client anyways. But in this scenario, they say yes. Typically, they say yes, right? So if they say yes, I go, oh, that's awesome. So you could handle an extra job or two a day? They're like, yeah, I could definitely do that. I didn't need the more work, right? Okay, so they say yes in this ideal scenario. So I go, all right, well, I got like a little 2-minute breakdown of how it works. Do you have 2 minutes to hear me out? You know, be clear. Like you're letting them know, like, hey, I have this rehearsed breakdown that, you know, I have down by heart. And do you mind hearing it out and listening to it? Like, you're not just like trying to convince them that you're speaking from the hip. You're being honest with them. I'm like, yo, I have like a little speech that I give to everybody before I hook them up to this, so I could make it very clear. You know, you're being honest and genuine, making these people feel like they could trust you, you know, which they can, because you have nothing to hide. At the end of the day, they don't give a shit how you're generating the leads. They just want the phone calls, you know? We're working with moms and pops, you know? We don't have a big rule book with a bunch of rules. You're just being honest with these people. So I go, all right, well, I have a little 2-minute breakdown of how this works. Do you have 2 minutes to just hear it out? They go, sure. So, did I miss one? I go, cool. So like I said before, we have about 40 to 50 calls coming in every month for junk removal in Austin, Texas. Oh, one note I want to say about this. 40 to 50 calls is usually what I say when I'm actually getting something like 70 to 80, because I like to under-promise and then over-deliver, because managing expectations is very important for the trial. And you'll see how I do it in other ways throughout the call. And this is exactly what I say every time. This script got me to $30,000 a month. Okay, literally just saying this over and over again for the past 4 years. I am not bullshitting you, all right? This whole script, I just wanted to be clear about that. So cool, like I said before, we have about 40 to 50 calls coming in every month for junk removal in Austin, Texas. We're not a national dispatch operation. We never talk with the customer. We never bill the customer. All calls are forwarded directly to you. So in some industries, they're like national dispatch operations for, you know, AC or anything like that. A lot of these people don't like working with them. They just want to like continue on doing business how they do and just get more jobs, right? So I go, we are not a national dispatch operation. We never talk with the customer. We never bill the customer. All calls are forwarded directly to you, so it's business as usual for you, but your phones would just be ringing more. That sounds amazing, right? My phone's just going to be ringing more. I don't have to download some app to work with you guys. I don't have to check my emails more often to analyze the freaking email lead notification. All I have to do is sit here, my phone will ring more, and I close jobs the way I always do. That's a great freaking pitch right there, right? They've never heard that before, right? So I go, so all I'm really calling you about today is to see if you want to do a 7-day test drive of these calls. And the way that would work is I can hook these calls up to you today. You notice I'm already getting into like the close here for the trial, right? Like I'm not elaborating more on anything else. I'm telling them the raw, bare bones basic. You're getting calls, and this is how you're going to receive them, all right? And now I'm telling them about the free trial, all right? So let's go back and make sure it's all clear. So all I'm really calling you about today is to see if you want to do a 7-day test drive of these calls. And the way that would work is I can hook these calls up to you today, and for the next 7 days, I'll send you all the calls we get in Austin for junk removal. At the end of 7 days, you and I will get on the phone. You'll let me know what you thought of the calls. If you thought the calls were junk, no worries at all. I'll disconnect them, never bug you again, all right? No risk here. But if you like the calls and you think you could make some good money off of them, then you and I will have a little negotiation, discuss a monthly flat rate that works for both of us, and keep this going on a month-to-month basis. It's like I'm really like relieving them of any stress. Like I'm just a dude. I don't have fixed prices. I don't work for a company that's telling me I have to charge this amount. Maybe we could work something out. You know, maybe it's $5, maybe it's $500. But at the end of the day, really, I'm going to pitch my price. And if he doesn't want to meet me there and I'm not willing to go down, then that's my price. You know, you're letting them think it's going to be a negotiation, but when it comes to closing time, you know, you're running the show. And they're usually not remembering that it was a negotiation. They usually just forget and they're just like, oh, that's your price? Okay. So after I tell them we'll keep this going on a month-to-month basis, we're no contracts ever. You can cancel anytime. If you want to do this trial, you won't be signing any contracts. You won't be giving me any credit card information. All I would need is a phone number and email address to send the leads to, and you can start trying it out. How easy is that? Like I'm just like knocking down all of their concerns right here before they can even bring them up. I'm like, dude, I already have your email and phone number. All right, I can technically hook this up to you right now without your permission, but I'm being nice enough to reach out to you and ask you for your permission. All right. This is all just like beating down like their standard gut reactions when somebody's trying to sell them something. It's just like shooting them. They're trying to figure out a way in their head, like how the fuck can I get this guy off the phone and tell him he's a scammer? But it's too fucking good of an offer. You know, they can't. All right. I go, worst case scenario, you get a few free jobs from me. And if you don't want to continue, you tell me to fuck off and I'll move on to the next company. Depending on the tone of the person's voice, I won't say the F word, but some majority of the time I will say that because it makes me sound like a human, and they're human, you know? And I don't sound like I'm calling from Yelp or something, you know? So worst case scenario, you get a few free jobs from me, and if you don't want to continue, you tell me to fuck off, and I'll move on to the next company. That's a key line right there, because they're like, oh fuck, next company? Oh shit. So I go, heck, if you want me to shut off the calls tomorrow, just call me, and I'll disconnect you right away. So what do you think? All right? So I'm telling you, like, I usually get a trial going within 1 to 3 calls, you know. There are miscellaneous markets where the only time I don't really get this to work really quickly is if I'm calling in a market where there's so much demand for their services that these guys can't even keep up with the work that they're getting, so they don't even want my extra leads. So, but we're going to assume everything goes perfectly here, right? After they give me the phone number and email, there's only 2 things I tell them, and this is stuff to like prep them for the trial, right? This like you want to get this in their head beforehand so that you're managing expectations. So I go, there are only 2 things I got to tell you before I hook you up. Number 1, if somebody texts you, make sure to give them your direct cell phone number, because if they text my dummy number, you won't get the text. That's just a functional thing I always tell them because you need to do that. And they're happy about hearing that because it's like, okay, so this is real. This isn't a scam. Like, he's explaining to me how this is actually going to work, you know? Like, he's not just trying to, like, take my email address and do something shady with me, you know? But then the second thing, which is important, I go, 2, we know our system isn't perfect. You'll likely get some spam calls and some calls for services you don't do. But the overwhelming majority of the calls should be junk removal related. This is what the 7-day trial is for you to see what the calls are like and feel out if there's something you could make some money off of. I mean, I think you could all see what that does there. It's like we all get spam calls, and we all have clients that tell us, like, it's just a bunch of spam calls. You just gave me a bunch of spam calls. Before they even give me that shit, I'm telling them, like, I know. But the goal here is to see if the 75% of calls that were legit are worth it to you to put up with those extra spam calls, So I go, this is what the 7-day trial is for you to see what the calls are like and feel out if there's something you can make some money off of. I go, all right, I'm hooking you up now. Good luck. That was really, I dragged that out, but it's really under 5 minutes. And usually these business owners are just answering yeah, sure. And quickly responding, and you have a trial on within under 5 minutes. Because they're like, why wouldn't I turn down that offer? All he needs is my phone number and email address. I'm not giving you any credit card information. What could really go wrong here? And so you start sending them calls, and really your leads should do most of the heavy lifting, so that when you get to the closing day to close the calls, they're really just wanting to know what you're going to charge, and you name your price, and if they want to come down a little bit and you're comfortable with it, go with it. It's just a standard negotiation. You're just talking like a human. Imagine you're talking with your buddy working out a deal. All right, but I could only come up with 2 objections that came to my head. There might be more, but I was only able to think of 2 of them that are common. They go, I want to know what you're going to charge me, because I tell them in the pitch that there will be a negotiation at the end of 7 days. And some people are like, well, I don't want to give a trial of something unless I know what I'm going to end up paying, right? And I tell them, listen, man, I could tell you the price, but I don't really like to discuss price, because if you hear a price and it sounds crazy to you, but it might not sound that crazy to you after 7 days of leads, you might realize, well, maybe that's why he wants $1,000, right? Because I just sent him 40 calls in a week, right? So I tell them, I don't really like to share talk about price, but if you insist, I'll tell you, and I'll tell them, but I'll be I really just want you to give the 7 days a shot, just so you can see why I'm charging these rates, right? And sometimes they ask how I'm generating the calls. I literally say, we just do SEO. We do SEO, we rank websites, and rather than having to pay a marketing company for 6 months and fingers crossed you get results after 6 months, with us, you're getting results right now, and we're doing, we just get leads on Google. We don't do any paid ads, blah, blah, blah. But I think that's where I'm at. I'm going to open it up to questions. Do we have time for that, Shiv?
Yeah. In fact, I have some questions. So,
I'm actually, my mouth is so dry, but ask away.
Yeah,
go. Some water.
Yeah. The first question I have, Kyle, is the script's phenomenal, but it assumes you have a site that's already generating 40 calls a month, right? Do you ever do situations where, let's say the site is generating a few calls here and there, or is this specifically for?
If you have calls already, this script is specifically for calls. I have gotten a client with 0 calls, like I told you about at the beginning. I gave a screencast video, showed the business owner how this strategy works, but it's a lot more time and effort to sell it, and you could do it. I just haven't done it in a long time, because my goal with me and my partners was to build out as many properties as possible, and I always have a backlog.
And then the other question I have is, how are you who do you decide to pick as the person? You're just calling down the list literally from top to bottom? Do you have
I find niche specific directories. So they're junk removal directories with just industry specific businesses. I go on there. I also, I like to call the people who are running Google ads, because they're obviously paying for marketing already. And then I pull all the names.
Really quick, everyone should write that down. If someone's running a Google ad, they are paying anywhere from $2 to $10, $20, $30 a click. This is easy. This is the easiest conversation you could have. And this is a good thing I learned in business. People who already spend money are actually your best customers, right? So I just sold my car to Ferrari, right? And
drop that.
Yeah, but the irony is Ferrari, they only sell to people who 99% of people who buy their first Ferrari already own a supercar, right? I know it's a stupid kind of out there example, but the point is same with us. The business owner that's going to be the easiest to pay you is one that's already spending money on Google ads, already spending money on SEO. I can't tell you how many of my clients actually spend money on SEO, a marketing service. They spend money on TV ads, they spend money on whatever, and we might go, oh no, they already have marketing people. Those people will buy another thing. So people who run Google ads, people who run marketing, they are already pre-indoctrinated into paying people for leads and for marketing.
Exactly.
So when I got started, I used to think, oh, they're running ads, so they already have a lead source, so I can't call them. And it was the dumbest thing I ever did. It's the exact opposite.
They're running ads because they need more work. Right. And they're not getting shit calls from freaking Google ads. I promise you that.
And so let's open it up to Q&A. Any questions about the strategy?
So Kyle, do you ever preemptively address the cost aspect of it before they ever bring it up? So from the standpoint of saying, hey, listen, I know you're probably thinking, what is this going to cost me? Don't worry about that right now. Let's at least see if we can work together first. Then we talk about it.
I brought that up at one point. I don't know if you missed it, but I was basically just saying, like, if they ask me about cost and they insist on it, then I'll just say, like, listen, I could tell you the price, but I don't want you to be discouraged from taking the trial because you hear it, because I'm giving you 7 days for free anyways. So you might as well try it out and see if those leads justify the price I'm going to give you. But I also tell them, like, listen, it's a legitimate negotiation. I don't know what the price is going to be. I want to see how you do, And don't be afraid to say that, because typically from what I've seen at the end of 7 days, when you call them back, they don't remember that it was a negotiation. You tell them the price and they're typically, that sounds reasonable.
And I actually have a different answer, and obviously that's worked really well for him. For me, I like to go, look, the average business owner I work with, they pay me $1,100 a month, but I want you to understand how this works. For me to have a good business here, it has to be profitable for you way more than it is for me, because I think about it, I'd rather get $1,100 a month from you forever then you pay 1 month and then cancel and then charge back your credit card on me because you hate me. So we're gonna make sure that the pricing reflects something where you're gonna make profit and it's gonna be a profitable endeavor for you.
That's just like another thing I do say to them. I say something like, listen, it's a negotiation because I need the price to be reasonable, because if you're not making a profit off of this, we're no contracts ever. And if you're not making a return on this, you're just gonna cancel on me after 1 month. So if my clients aren't making a good return off my calls, then I'm not going to have any clients because they're all going to cancel on me. And I don't feel like going out and trying to sell this website.
Yeah, so we're saying the same thing, but for me, I like to hit them with a real number. I like to get price out of the way in the sense of like, look, average client pays me $1,100 a month. I'm going to make sure that we come up with a pricing that's fair where you're profitable and the leads are going to pay you way more than what you're paying me. I just want to sliver continuously. I want a long-term relationship. And look, let me be honest. I would love to send you 6,000 leads a month and you pay me 40 grand a month. I want to make this where we both can make a lot of money together, but just know my average client's $1,100 a month, but we'll come up with a price at the end of this trial that makes perfect sense for both of us. So at least that way, they're not thinking like, oh, this guy's shiesty, like, why, like, at least you can put it in the realm of some number. Because sometimes I think one thing I just feel is like when salespeople hide from price, you're like, oh, I'm about to get screwed today. I just think it's like, get right to it. So same kind of thing, but to me, I like to just throw a number right away because I show them I'm not scared.
Yeah.
I'm not scared. $1,100 a month's my average. So then it's like,
try that.
Yeah, try it. Cool. Yeah, go ahead.
What do you do with those calls before you get a client?
What do you say?
What do you do with those calls before you have the client?
So I go to voicemail. So many people ask me that question. You don't have to worry about it, because this is the thing. Like, once you start each rank you get up on the maps or on the organics or anything like that, your call volume starts to go up incrementally, and it usually stays around that average as long as you're in that spot, then just goes up as your rankings go up, right? If I'm getting if I'm getting like 15 to 20 calls, right? It's not going anywhere. I'm going to get 50. It's strange, but it typically stays within a range. So I'm not worried that, all these jobs are going to waste. No, they'll still be there next month when I actually get a client on them. Like, I don't think you understand how many freaking sites I have right now just going to voicemail. It's like outrageous. I don't care, because if they're not getting the same amount of calls next month, it's not sellable anyways, because if you sold it to a business owner this month, right, then the calls dry out next month, they're going to be like, bye. So then it wasn't a good property anyways.
It's just call rail voicemail, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or, you could get like a burner phone, but they do have a call rail voicemail. Yeah, there is a voicemail.
And by the way, that answer, there's certain things in this business, everyone does that a little differently. Yeah. Like, I know, like, for me, I like to just send it to any business. I'd rather it just go somewhere than nowhere. So that's like how I've done it. I'm actually curious, do you also send it to voicemail, Alec?
Yeah, and I like sending it to voicemail immediately because then I can see what kind of calls are coming in by listening to it. And a lot of times if you forward it to a business and they're not answering it and they get the voicemail, like people are, like they listen to it ring for 30 seconds and then it comes to voicemail and now they're not going to use voicemail. If you go direct to voicemail, a lot of times people just immediately start saying what it is and think like the business owner's on another line, something like that. So I went direct to voicemail, so they'll leave a voicemail, hopefully they'll call back. And I have info of what kind of calls are coming in, and I can use that to product line.
Love it.
One more follow-up there.
Yeah. Welcome.
It's okay. Okay, go to him and then come back.
So when you send a call, you off the bat, you have a voice whisper with it, so that they know those calls are coming from you?
Yeah, usually you say this call's from company name, your company, so they know every time. Did I miss a whole section? You know what? I think I missed a whole section of this. Hold on. We are nationals. So all I'm calling you is you want to do this. Hold on. And the way it works is I can hook up these calls. So if you want to do a 7 days. Okay, so there was a whole part of this I missed. I'm sorry about that. Let me just explain it to you real quick. Damn, I really dropped the ball there. I'm sorry. So right when I say, okay, we are not an established operation, so it's business as usual for you, but your phones will just be ringing more. I'm sorry. I was making this off the cuff yesterday. I'm sorry. But after this, what I get into is I explain to them how the calls come in, right? So the way I explain to them how the calls come in is I'm like, the way you'll know a call is coming from us is the first thing you'll hear is a little robot voice recording that says, call from Junk Removal Co. And then you'll be speaking with the customer. And when you're done speaking with the customer, you'll hang up and an automatic email will get sent to your inbox with a recording of the call and the phone number of the caller. This way, you can keep track of which calls are coming from us and which calls are coming from any other sources you have. Then I go into this. Okay, I will try and get everybody who attended here full script if you guys are interested in that. I could type it out and I can get it all sent to you and Shiv will distribute it. Sorry about that. I don't know how I blanked on that part. But as you can see, I was able to recite it exactly how I freaking say it because I've said it so many freaking times. But somehow I fumbled it in the presentation.
Do you send a call report after, or is it just the email notifications? Like you send like that set or like that month call report or whatever?
Not typically. I mean, if I need to, I will. It really depends on the scenario. If I have them on trial for 7 days, I'm usually just asking them, like, hey, what do you think of the calls? Did you feel it? And you have to, this is the thing, some business owners will be like, just focus on the negative. They'll just complain about the spam, but when you look at the freaking calls, you see that they had several jobs opportunities, that they fumbled the ball on, but they'll blame you, And at the end of the day, you could try and twist their arm into a sale, and you can maybe strong arm them into a sale, but those people are typically going to drop you in a month or two anyways, and they're just not a good business owner to work with. So you just have to try people and be patient. What's up?
Don't you want to ask the business owner what number to direct it to in case it's the front desk, or if it's a salesperson, they might get...
Yeah, I do. At the end of it, I ask them, okay, all I need is a phone number and email address to send the leads to, and then I'll get you hooked up. So I clarify with them, like, hey, so is this the phone number you want all the jobs to come through?
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean, you might even suggest them to go directly to him because you don't want it to go to the front desk or...
It's true, but some business owners don't want to answer more jobs. So however they want to receive them, I let them do it. But either way, it could be fine. There are some business owners who want to take it. Most of the people I work with, I'm usually calling and the business owner is picking up. Typically, in the industries I'm working in, right? Usually mom and pops and stuff like that. And I wanted to point out, like, also, sometimes I call these businesses and it is like a receptionist and you have to get through the business owner. Usually I just give them the first part of this pitch, like, hey, I got... hey, what's up? My partner and I were working with this other junk removal company in the area, and they hired us to get them more phone calls for junk removal. And we managed to get them around 40 to 50 calls a month, and then looking for see if somebody, like that whole part of it. And the receptionist is usually like, yeah, we could definitely take more work. And they're usually excited too because they know the business owner wants more work, so they put you in with the business owner. Or they take a message and they say they'll call you back and they never do, and then you call back yourself, so...
Yeah, so I was going to just give a tidbit as well. When you talk to a business owner, at the end, let's say they're not for it. Let's say they just say, oh, I'm super busy, I can't take the jobs, I'm really sorry, I appreciate you, but there's just no way this is going to make sense for us. Always ask them, and this is what I always do, with any phone call that ends in a no, they're not going to do a trial, they're not going to move forward with you. Be like, yeah, no worries, out of curiosity, can you recommend me to someone who you think would be a good fit?
That's a
For the love, I can't tell you how many times,
many times.
they recommend someone that I couldn't even find on Google Maps, couldn't find on Yellow Pages, couldn't find anywhere on the internet.
Because they know everybody in their market.
Right.
So they feel bad because they just told you no, so it's like a little bit of a like, oh, they're throwing you a mini bone.
Yeah, well, and it's great too because it also makes you look strong because now it's the takeaway. Okay, well, give me someone else I could talk to. Who else can get this? Because it also keeps the integrity intact, which is, no, I do have these calls. I'm not making this up. Like,
So many of the times when I ask that question, they give me a person that's not even listed on Google. Or
I know, and those are the best clients I've ever had, are the ones that you can't even find anywhere on the internet. Yeah, they go, oh yeah, this guy's the neighborhood plumber that's nowhere to be found. Yeah. Yeah, so, but that right there, like, I'll tell you, like, and I still make this mistake to this day, like, even when we should be asking you guys, hey, is there anyone else who you think would be good and unemployable? I'd never do it, right? I should. But you should always ask people, when they join you, you should ask for referrals. If they say no, you should ask, is there someone who you think would be good for this? Always ask that. It's going to literally double your productivity. Just that one last sentence before you hang up the phone will do wonders for you. So there you go. Yeah.
All right.
Yes, John. Or, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, both of you raised your hand.
Let's say they say yes to the 7-day trial.
Yeah.
You negotiate a price, you start moving calls to them. When and how do you get paid? Did they get a month of calls and then they tell you no thanks and now they've had
No.
5 weeks?
I used to do that, and it's a mistake because lots of people just like disappear on you at the end of the month and they haven't paid you anything. I usually make them pay me a deposit with a credit card. So I have them give me their credit card information. I charge them for half of whatever they'll be paying at the end of the month, and then I tell them, hey, you'll get the prorated charge.
So you do that at the end of 1 week when they say, okay.
After they've accepted the trial, I go, okay, sweet. So if you want to get signed up, all I need is a credit card. I'll be taking a half down deposit today just to make sure we have your credit card on file and that you're a client that likes to pay, you know. I literally say that. I say, now I make sure that you're a client that likes to pay for services, you know. And so they're usually understanding because they get ripped off too and they're business owners. So
if it's $1,000, you get $500 up front. At
Yes.
the end of the month,
500 again. And then the following month, it's a full 1,000.
at the end of the month, 1,000.
Yeah, so I take 500 up front. Then at the next billing cycle, at the first of the next month, I take the other 500 because he's a full 1,000 is his rate. So that adds up to a full 1,000. Then the following month, it's just 1,000 every month. You know, I just like to take half of the first payment right away. Anybody else?
It might be silly, I don't know, but on the script, for me, having an answer to everything, like I think of it as if you were approaching me, and I'm pretty paranoid about people.
Yeah,
trying to
for
sell me
sure.
stuff, right? So if you, like we give, they'll come to the door and they'll say, hey, we've got a job up the road, we're trying to, get other people to work for your neighbor up the road. Well, I know my neighbor, and I know if I go and ask them, hey, did this guy do that? So, what would the answer be? Because, like, when you say, hey, I had a client, doing junk removal, and we were working with them, and now we're not. Do you want to take
Yeah,
a call?
so
you ask you, like, who's the other guy?
Right.
Because on the end of it, you're asking for, and then there's
So this is
Very
where,
rarely do they ever ask.
Yeah, but
they do sometimes.
I
And
will
make up a
say-
company name.
so like for me, it depends. This is like how you are. Like to me, if you're willing, some people have, like I have a thing where if it's not harmful in any way, a little bit of like I might go, look, I'm just not really allowed to talk. Like, I don't know if they want me to share because, like, I think they're, like, exiting the business. Like, so if you want to kind of sidestep it, you could do it that way. Or honestly, like, the truth is you could be, like, the way I am is sometimes I'll just be like, I actually didn't have someone. I just wanted to work with you first. and I can't tell you how many times they'll laugh at, like, something like that. I'll just be like, I don't.
Because that gives into like, you're not trying to hide that you're a salesman. Because most salespeople are trying to hide that they're salesmen. Like, these business owners respect that this is another guy that's trying to make money like me, So you're just like, yeah, I was just trying to pitch you, man. I use the word like pitch before I get into the breakdown of how the whole calls work. Like, hey, I got like a little 2-minute pitch for you if you have 2 minutes to hear it out. You're just being frank with them. Like we both know what's going on here. I'm trying to make money. You're trying to make money.
Yeah.
So
You can lie. I just say his name's Dave.
Huh?
His name's Dave.
Yeah, yeah. You can just say Dave. If you could make up anything, dude. But I'm telling you, it's strange. Like I worry about that every time I pick up the phone, and I'm thinking like, oh, if they're gonna ask me, and like 99% of the time they never ask.
One time I said it was my brother-in-law's business, and my sister divorced him, and the guy was moving to Texas, and they're like, "Oh, okay, cool."
All right.
How much time do we have? Do we have time for more questions? I'm just trying.
Just real quick, I know that you said, obviously under promise and over deliver. I guess you're taking like a third to 40% off of the leads of what you really are getting. But can you, I know Chef asked earlier, but if you're really just ranking up a website, I mean, what's the minimum, I know it's niche dependent, but what's the minimum number of leads that you could like consistently have to have before you start?
It definitely depends on the niche, but the higher the ticket, the lower volume you need to make it sellable. But to have you want a steady flow of some sort. If it's a high ticket, you got a steady flow of 5 a month. That might be sellable to say it's roofing company or, water damage restoration, right? But, if it's a lower ticket service and you have a steady flow of like 25 to 30 calls, it's sellable. It might just not be for as much. Like if you get 30 calls a month for auto glass repair, business owner might not be blown away by that, but they might be willing to pay you like $200-300 for that. I don't know. Auto glass, I have one client in it.
This is actually a great thing you brought up though. And maybe Alec, you want to chime in on this because you guys as well, because you have a lot of clients at like $200-300 a month, right? Like a lot of mobile mechanics, things like that. So like just for everyone here, don't have the mindset. I know especially when you see these big testimonials and incomes drop, someone lands a $2,000 a month client. It's really easy to think about these big numbers. Just remember in this business, getting a small victory is the greatest thing ever. And I mean, you guys make like 20 grand a month on just your $200-300 a month clients, right?
We got some bigger, like, total five.
No, I know that, obviously. But what I'm trying to say is, like, you're willing to charge. You're not, like, there's a lot of people here who just muscle memory from how we teach in the group. They don't even think to throw that low of a number out. And so they just make $0 as opposed to $200 or $300 a month, which that's $3,600 a year. It adds up. It really does add up.
We're all looking at the whales, but they're guppies and minnows out there.
Exactly, and I can't tell you how many relationships have started out. I mean, there's people who like in business that started out at $300 a month, and they're now paying $4,000 a month. So sometimes like a small starter relationship, it builds and grows. I mean, we all know that. Like how many people? Like I know people who begged me to join Unemployable, on a payment plan, and then they end up becoming the person who buys Nick Wood's program. They buy every ready-made site. They come to every event. So even like don't underestimate how something can start small but grow into something way bigger.
Yeah, and I'd personally rather I've had whale clients that are paying like ridiculous amounts. Like this might not sound fake, but I had a client that was paying us somewhere around $40,000 to $50,000 a month. This one person, and when you have that, you get really comfortable with it. And I had it for like 4 or 5 months, and I'm just like, oh, this is amazing. I'm living the dream. And then he pulls the plug, and then you're like, oh, it's such a fucked feeling. And me and my partners, we decided that it's just way better to like dedicate yourself to building a client base of like 1,000 $300 or $750 clients versus a few big whales, because you're putting your income in the hands of one small person. So we've done that over the past few years. We have a ton of clients who are paying anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month, but these guys are comfortable with it. They're not going anywhere because the rate's reasonable, and like if I lose one, don't really feel it too much.
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
Are you firm on just doing a one pay per month, or will you do bi-weekly and weekly?
I mean, it's typically one pay per month. There are a few clients that pay weekly. It's very exceptional, but it's just when you have like 100 clients, it's hard to manage. Okay, this guy's weekly, bi-weekly. At the beginning, take what you can get. Like, don't turn anybody down. If you're under 20 clients, like just take the money.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
however they want to
don't
pay
get mad at your money. I can't tell you how many times, like in my one-on-ones with students, that they'll go, oh, I have this site and I can't find a client. I'm like, well, did you talk to anyone? And they're like, yeah, I talked to this guy, and like he wanted to pay via PayPal, so like I don't have a PayPal account. I'm like, then go create a PayPal account. Like that's the solution. So like I can't tell you how many times, and I don't look. We're growing up to have money repellent, right? We all went through the same I went to public school. I mean, you don't get taught how to go and get the money and figure out how to get paid. And so make sure you have a lot of options available. Like for me, I let them know, like, if you want to Zelle me, I have a Zelle, I have a Venmo, I have, like, they can name anything, and if I don't have it, I will go get it. Like, I've had clients mail me money in the mail.
You guys are
swear,
not
true
formal.
story.
You guys are not formal marketing companies. You're just some dude who's got this website and like, yo, I'm working with you, buddy. I'll send you some jobs. You know, that's like the character you got to embody. Like, I'll take money however you want to send it. I'm just your secret weapon.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I want to add something to exactly what you just said. Is go back to like when you were initially pitching them, and I follow a similar script you do. It's amazing. The one thing I always do, and this I try to separate myself from the Angie and from the home advisor instantly. And by doing that, I say I'm just a local guy. I work a small business by myself.
Right.
And I say that instantly.
Right.
Because what I'm doing is I'm telling them I'm not Angie. I'm not home advisor.
Right.
I'm a local guy. I mean, it helps that like, I try and get guys in my local area so I can say, oh, I live up the road in Yorkville, you know, so they can kind of, you get that familiarity. So it might not apply as well if you're doing a site that's 3 states away. But the point is I'm trying to distinguish myself from these big idols. Like I'm a local, small guy, like you said, some website.
We're smaller solo people delivering better results than Angie's List and Home Advisor.
And Neil made a great point. Like people want to deal with other people. Everyone hates corporations. They hate being a cog, like in the big wheel. I mean, the fact that you all know Brooke, we don't just say hit up some arbitrary support. You know Brooke, you know me, you know Kyle. Like that makes it so much better. And when we drop the ball, you're a lot more forgiving to us because you know our names, you know we're actual people. With a company, you just go, screw them, right? You get so mad. Like this hotel had some hiccups with me and there's no point person, so I'm just like upset at all of Virgin Hotels, right? So,
Richard Branson.
Yeah, Richard Branson, damn, he should give me his, So be personal, let them know that, no, I'm the person, like you're gonna deal with me the whole way through. That goes a
They all
long
have
way.
My cell phone number. I tell them at the end of that page. There's another thing I left out is I always say, like, hey, listen, if you have any questions or concerns, this is my cell phone number. Text me or call me at any time.
And you'll be so shocked. I mean, how many of you in this room? How many of you have my personal cell phone? Like, raise hands. Okay, almost everyone here has my personal cell phone. I promise you, I've given my number out probably 3,000 times. Not that many people hit me. Like people are pretty respectful.
Oh yeah.
So
it's pretty rare.
It's manageable.
You hit on the exclusivity piece of it because I use that event.
Yes.
With certain niches.
Hey, I forgot to tell you. You know, if you do this trial and we do come to an agreement, I don't work with anybody else like Angie and Thumbtack and all of them do.
Yeah, for the home services stuff, it's
Yeah,
good to bring that up
that's
because
huge, especially-
they deal with a lot of that.
And this is when you start doing reps, you start getting used to it. So like you'll start realizing if they say, yeah, I just spent a lot of money on Thumbtack and I'm not happy, you know, like you guys will start learning, like Thumbtack shares their leads. So that one lead they paid $30, $40, $50 leads, that goes to 10 other plumbers, 10 other roofers. So you start learning if that's an objection you get, that they're going, well, I paid Thumbtack and it was a waste of time. You go, oh, let me tell you how I'm different from Thumbtack. My leads go exclusively to you. It goes to no one else. We do not share leads. These are your leads. So that's a huge selling point for sure. Yep.
I was gonna say, like, you know, I try to find people who run ads on Google, Angie, Thumbtack, Groupon, whatever. And, you know, I bring it up on the initial hook call is like, you know, this is where I found you, what's your experience, and I'll start to build that relationship around their hatred for Angie.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I understand that industry, and you know.
And it really is garbage. Like if you understand how Angie and all these companies run, I mean, they just have a call center. They're just spamming business owners. They don't know anything from anything. They have no personal care. They take the money and they're not like looking in on them. So yeah, you have every right. If like that's the greatest thing they could say. If they have a bad experience with Yelp, whatever, this is your moment to shine. Like, hey, I'm the guy. I'm the person. Like I don't have the buck stops here. Like, so that goes a long way. Exclusivity goes a long way. And then also future growth. You can always tell them, look, like the cool thing is I'm more than happy if we build a relationship, like I can build more sites. We can figure out other angles here. Like, I don't want you to think of this as just like this one thing. Like we can grow a relationship over time. So people want to know that you're in it for the long run. You want to build a relationship for years to come. And especially for me now doing it as long as I have, I explain to them, like my average client's been with me for like 4 or 5 years. Like I don't want to lose you as a client. I would rather just work with you and build a relationship with just one business owner.
I don't feel like going out and selling it again.
Yeah, I don't want to go sell this
So
again.
I start telling them, look, I want to hear about your kids graduating from high school and you walking your daughter down the aisle and going off to college, the whole deal. They chuckle about it, but you're getting your point across saying, hey, look, I am playing, I'll be in a cane and a wheelchair and you'll still be sending me money.
Hopefully in a year or two, you're going to have a ton of freaking graduations to go to because you're making a lot of promises.
I will say my first clients, I think everyone when you're brand new, like getting your first client, I remember I was just so eager and I was like, I'll do anything, blah, blah, blah. Just get him on for $500 a month party bus client in Santa Ana, California. And literally he calls me and is like, my internet's not working, can you help me? I'm like, I'm not tech support. But I did. I was like, you got me because you're my only client right now and I kind of need the money. So yeah, it was great. He was like, it was just so everything. He'd call me and be like, hey, it's like, do you want to grab coffee? And I'm like, not really. So.
All right, anything else? Oh, sorry, okay. You sure we have time, Shiv?
Yeah, we
Okay,
do.
let's start over here.
All right. So it's a two-way street. You're trying to vet potential client.
Yes.
In the immortal words of Eric, he said, never turn down money. But if you look at a particular niche in the market and you have 10 potential clients who could service that area, and the first guy you call says, I'll try it.
Yeah.
You call the next 9 and say, I'm gonna.
So this is kind of a fundamental difference. Like, I'm more that way. Like, my personality is I don't mind calling 9, but I just learned now how to phrase it. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of in this weird situation. I have the site. I have some extra calls coming. I'm trying to just see if anyone is willing to take them and potentially in the future, obviously pay me a little bit to give you referrals and customers. And so I might have a backup plan. Like, I'm more of the person who likes to have always a backup plan. But I think that's more an attribute of at a certain point, my time was getting, with the coaching and this, my time was so constrained that I was like, I can't afford to go one trial at a time super slow. So some of that stuff, but no, if someone sounds eager, just one at a time's fine. Yeah. But it's really, those are the minor things, it's just a personality thing.
It's a judgment call.
It's a judgment call.
So, how did you get us to Shiv? That's a different thing.
That's a whole other thing. Here's the thing. We all know TikTok, YouTube, and all that, and Reddit, but everybody has a different experience when they post on there. And, have you been looking for a course? Do you want to get scanned by an Indian guy? No. We have some gift cards we'd like you to buy. No. This is the thing. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or anything because I'm not some sort of YouTube expert or TikTok expert. I just was willing to go out there and try something, and I was willing to go and make some random YouTube videos and some TikToks and put myself on camera and expose myself, and I never expected it to take off the way it did. I think some people gravitate.
Kyle's one of the few people who he made one TikTok about my course and it got 170,000 views. The first one he made.
780,000.
Oh, 780,000 views.
Let's
so
be clear here.
Yeah. So that's not. Yeah. So yeah. Not everyone could get that lucky where they take 60 seconds of their day who's probably hungover and got to make a TikTok with 780,000 views on it. So some of that's why those strategies aren't like
it's not really something you can necessarily count on. I'm still posting and stuff, and it's just I think there's just I think I might have a certain personality that's a bit I'm very honest, and I think that comes off in my videos and stuff. So and you don't really see a lot of that on YouTube.
Well, I think it's really more a testament. One thing I've seen in the business world, it's just a testament to if you just put stuff out there and do volume, don't be the person in business. Nothing's worse in business than being I need it perfect. What if this, what if that? Someone who makes the worst TikTok ever is going to beat the person who, if you just keep putting stuff out there and throwing things at the wall and getting better over time, that one thing you do, it's the 80-20 rule. 20% of my entire life output makes 80 to 90% of all the money I've ever made. It's just, you have to do all those reps for that one magical TikTok to take, 780,000 views or
This
whatever.
is the real lesson from it. It really is I see other people doing similar style YouTube videos and TikToks as me, but the issue is that they're putting out maybe like 1 video a week and they have it all edited and it's a great quality product, but I'm putting out 15, you know, I'm putting out 15 or 20 and they're half-assed. But I don't care if I put out 100 videos and only 20 of them are producing leads every freaking month. That's a freaking win in my book, because those YouTube videos just sit there forever. The TikToks just sit there forever. I only have to do them once. You know, it's volume, and same with the Google, the SEO and all that stuff. It's a volume game. Once you believe in the business model and you've seen that this works, the people I've seen get richest in this model are people who picked one niche that they've had success in, and they just say, screw it, I'm just going all in on this niche and build a site in every freaking city across the freaking country. Don't do any due diligence. They just plan to do like 200 sites, plant them every city, and if only 50 of those sites, worst case scenario, only 50 of those sites are sellable. Like, that's potentially 50 grand a month. Are you going to say that's a loss because you made 150 extra sites? No. It's a volume game, you know? You might not be a perfectionist, but you could build out a shit ton more half-assed sites, and maybe you'll just get lucky with Google's algorithm.
And be so happy we're in digital. You can make 200 crappy websites. You can always go back and make the site better. It's not like construction. You can't build like a crappy foundation of a home and then go back and rebuild your house, right? It's tricky. No. In this space, you can put stuff that you're not super proud of. I mean, you all saw how Asheville Towing looked for the longest time. It was a black text on it was the worst site ever. We just redid it when we moved over to Site Panda, but like it was. I mean, it's still ugly, but it's a lot less ugly. But yeah, it's like you can always go back and fix things later, but activity is going to always trump everything. I will say, not to drop another exotic car reference, but Porsche, which is the car that I bought. Make it clear.
I purchased with my money.
Yeah. So orange is my favorite.
It wasn't that expensive.
Yeah, but so orange is my favorite color. Like, you know, and so I bought an orange Porsche, but they do these Porsche events where you go and meet all these people who drive 911s, and, you know, like you meet all these really successful students. We actually have a student who joined our program. He sold his last company to NASCAR for like $35 million, right? Got divorced, needs to make some more, you know, he wants to cash flow, do a new thing. He's like one of those people who he has to be busy all the time. But like what I've noticed with all of these people I've talked to who are super successful, like I'm talking 30, 40, 50, $100 million net worths. When I talk to them for hours on end, I go, they're not that smart. They're not like better at all. They're not smarter than anyone in this room. They're not, maybe, yeah, they work hard, but so does a lot of us. Like, they're not like, there's nothing more than they just do a lot of activity. Like, that's it. Like, and they do it badly even.
Trying
like,
things, willing to take risks.
Just willing to go big, like fail fast, right? And that's what I've noticed with all of them. They're willing to fail fast. And they have a badge of honor. Like, they talk about their last 3 companies failing for the one that sold for $100 million. They talk about, like, it's like hilarious to them. They're like, oh, I went bankrupt, and, you know, like my wife divorced me because like we went bankrupt, and like this happened and that happened. And it's like, but they're just willing to just do and not like get so hung up in the output, right? They're not worried about the end result. Where I grew up really fear-based. I grew up like growing up Indian, like you lose $2, like you cry about it for 3 weeks, right? Like seriously, like my parents, like they would like coupon clip, and it was like, you know, if I remember we went to Disneyland once and everyone was hungry and they had to like buy like a $9 slice of pizza, and like for 3 weeks my parents couldn't get over it. Like 3 weeks. It ruined their whole month, right?
That's a whole other story.
Yeah, it's a whole other deal. But that grew up with me, so when I got into business, it was so, the fear of losing money, the fear of like it not working right was so in my head all the time that it really like, I think it really hindered me from getting, it took a lot to get over that and be like, okay, it's just money I'm losing. It's just some websites I'm building. It's just that, and just put it out there and not be like, everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be successful.
Yeah, that's the biggest lesson I've gotten from being in this business model is just like perfection is not the game. It's just like.
And don't get me wrong. There are businesses and things in life where perfection is the game. This is not it.
This is not it. Exactly.
So yeah, if you're performing for the Olympics, you better be damn perfect to win the gold, right?
I think you had the question.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you talk a little bit about after the 7 days of that phone call, and let's say maybe it's a niche where they did like an estimate and they haven't gotten the call back, like, hey, you know, want to complete that work or pay you for that work. Like, let's say they just had one estimate, and then 7 days is up. How would that phone call go?
So you're saying they got one estimate during that 7-day trial, and they want to see if it actually closes before they work with you. I mean, you have to really. There's a little bit of intuition.
I have an answer.
You give it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do as much home service.
Yeah, so for me, it's really simple. Like I go, no, that's awesome, man. Like the whole point of this trial is just to show you that these calls are legitimate and that these are actual customers. So I'm so happy you have an estimate going on, but that's the whole point. Like you can only imagine if you get 3 more weeks of these calls, you're gonna be making money. So like how do we figure out a way to move forward today? Like don't let them sell you. Like you already did your trial. Now it's, so that's another thing I want you all to write down. Like there's a sales process and now we're in closing. They are 2 different planets. When you're in closing mode, we're not trying to be agreeable with my business owner. Like the sales part, we're trying to get them to like us, understand, educate. Once we're in the close, it's like, exactly, like these leads are clearly working, you got an estimate out, I'm really excited. You can only imagine if these calls keep coming in for the next 3 weeks, how much business you're gonna make. So let's figure out a price today to move forward because just like you, I have bills to pay. This is not free for me to do. So we need to figure out a way to move forward.
I think that segment's so important. I myself, when I was newer, made the mistake of letting business owners go on trial for like a month and a half, before I was like, screw it, this guy's trying to take advantage of me.
Yeah, don't go longer. So here's another great example of this. Everyone here has been to Costco, I'm guessing. There's a reason why Costco doesn't give you an entire like steak as your sample, right? Because once you eat the steak and you're full, you have no desire to buy the steak or whatever sample cart thing they have, right? So I like what Kyle, 7 days I think is kind of the outer limit. The worst thing, same as Alexander, I've done that where you give them too many free leads and it's just human psychology. If you get something free for too long, you're not even trying to be that way. You just think it's not that valuable, clearly, or you just get used to it. People get used to a new set of life. They go, I thought it's normal to get this many calls. So you want to give them a taste, but you don't want them to get comfortable with it.
There's another line of psychology with that too. Sometimes I'll give them like an extra week just to really feel it out. And sometimes having that extra week or even 3 weeks, sometimes they can get so acclimated to that volume of calls. And then when you pull it away, they're going to be like, oh shit. Like I didn't realize how much they were giving me, you know. I do 100% agree with Shiv, but I mean sometimes I do different things.
And I'll go a step further. I like to in the best universe, especially for those of you who are just starting out, this is going to be your first or second or third client. When you don't have like a lot of clients to manage, every day if a call comes in, you should text them. Hey, I heard that call from Rachel about the roofing. You should be on them daily. Check in on them. Let them know who you are. Because people get busy. Life happens. Like be on, like, and do it what I call value driven. So when you text them, be like, hey, I heard you got that call today from Rachel from my site. She wanted a roofing estimate. Like, how did that go? Like, just be really nice about it. And that communication, when you get to the end of the 7 days, they're going to be so impressed, and they're going to know all the business you gave them. But if you just kind of like let calls go at the end, you know, it'll still work, but nothing's better than always being on top of someone. Persistence and like making them go, wow, they're really on it. People will pay unbelievable amount of money for that, right? When you go to the fanciest restaurants, you know the food's not that great, right? I've been to French Laundry and some of these places that like, you know, it's super hyped up. It's, you know, 2-year wait time to get in. The food's like, they go like, here is a carrot, and it's like a little carrot on a plate, and it's, you know, like $300, right? But it's not the food, it's the way they explain the dish. They're like, you take a sip of water, someone comes in and fills the water back, right? It's the experience, and people will pay unlimited money for experience, right? So just remember that in business, like if they know you care, people will pay for just that, and they will give you a lot of slack. If things don't go well, if they know you're on top of it and you're proactive and you're saying, hey, I know the leads are slow, I'm working on it, it might take a month for it to rebound, but I am on it every day, I'm focused on it. They will pay you and let a month go by that's slow. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to go back to what his question was. I just closed a guy, and he said, you know, I haven't closed any of these jobs, you know, I've done like one estimate. But I asked him, like, how long, I said, do you normally close all your work immediately? So I said, the jobs that you're closing now, when did you give estimates? He said, well, about a month and a half ago.
Right.
So I was like, okay, so if I can keep your pipeline full, the jobs that you're coming in now, you're going to close next month.
Yeah.
Yep.
Once that clicked in his head, he was like, oh, I
It's
paid
probably
money.
didn't explain that to him.
But repetition is like the mother of all skill, right? Sometimes you have to.
So like, I'm not making money
They,
now.
they know how to lay bricks and they know how to do, but they don't know how to run a business.
Right.
Oh yeah. You know, so it's that education process, and it's like you said, it's how you make them feel. If you're able to lower that barrier, that defensive wall. And we were a group of us were having a conversation about this the other day. So when you're doing your due diligence on researching the business owner, if they've got a Facebook page or they've got something like that, I was talking to some of the guys and I told them, I said, I noticed that one of the business owners, he had an Iron Maiden t-shirt on, which is a heavy metal rock group, concert t-shirt. And I was like, I got one of those things, man. I'm like digging through my closet. So when I did my screencast, I did my screencast in my Iron Maiden t-shirt and made some references. And I'm a guitaraholic, so I made a panned out in the video and I showed my stack of guitars. I got 41 guitars sitting in my office. And I ended up closing the business, but it's those little things that you can do that make a huge difference. That kind of say, oh, I'm just like you. I'm nobody special.
Does one go to 11?
Yes.
All right, well, we'll take one more question, but I want to bring up after. We'll take one more question. We'll do a little short break so people can move around for like 5-10 minutes. But I want to bring on Kyle Rulofs, who he manages the software that we have, right? SitePanda, Call Owl, the ready-made stuff. He's honestly, like I said, I met a lot of really successful people. When I say like they're really not that smart, this is the opposite. Kyle's a genius. So we're gonna hear from someone who's really just a brilliant mind who's really good with systems and processes. I want the takeaway is like there's a lot of cool strategies Kyle can teach. We'll kind of hodgepodge through a bunch of little things here and there. But I just think the essence of how his brain works, how he comes up with systems and processes, how he runs stuff. I mean, Kyle, how many VAs, like what's the most number of VAs you've managed in a single instance? 15. Yeah, 15 VAs. Like that takes a level of management and you know, when you start getting to a certain scale, I mean, how many sites have we built together? Like, yeah, 3,500 sites, right? That's a different way to run a business than us building, 10 little drag and drop sites. So we'll take one more question for this, and then we're gonna do a little break, and then I wanna bring on Kyle Rulofs. Any last minute question? Anyone? Yeah.
So when you're in that period where you're forwarding all the calls to voicemail, right, while you're waiting for them to kind of get more consistent before you can bring that asset to the business owner, any concern have you ever had an instance where like somebody's trying to reach you, like leave a bad review or something on
I'm not like, the goal is for you to have enough, like, I mean, I can understand why you would be worried about that when you have like less than 10 or 20 sites, but at a certain point, the goal is to not like have so many sites that you're not even thinking about these people. I don't care. I don't even know if I got a bad review on a listing or not. You shouldn't stress about it too much because your mindset when you're at this low volume of calls and sites is just like, ignore that, just build more sites. That's all it is.
But for people that do have 10 or 20 sites, there's nothing stopping them from taking those voicemails and connecting them with the business owner, right? Because you don't have a backlog of 30 sites that you need to sell. If you have the time, why not take the voicemails, get them connected with the business owner, even get a couple $100 from them a month, and then what can you do with that? There's like opportunities everywhere. You can send them a QR code and then get them to get reviews on the GMB, so then you're building your own asset. I used to not like to let the calls go to waste because you don't want to do that. You can always let them go to voicemail, or if, I know how many sites you guys have, you can take those, connect with the business owner. Like Shiv was saying, check on them every day or two and start building that relationship if you have the time.
Yeah, I wouldn't stress about that too much.
I got a site that GMB's got 3 1-star reviews and no other reviews, and it's ranked well. I just looked; it's getting 33 calls in the last 30 days. I can't get a review to stick on it for 5 stars, but it's like, hey, it's still producing.
Yeah. Going back to, you'd be so surprised at just activity, just putting stuff out there. It makes no sense. Like
Google's only like, it's almost like Google's main metric for reviews. It's almost like Google's main metric for reviews is just to like verify that you're legit. And the more reviews, even if you have negative reviews, it's like it just solidifies your profile to stay up longer because it's like you're adding legitimacy to your profile.
We don't do it a ton, but we call it soft sending. So we have a lot of sites to sell, and just soft send to a business owner, and then in a few days you see it come through, and then you know.
By the way, for everyone here, Cecile and her son do this business. I remember their call really well. It was, 2.5 years ago? You guys are at $20,000 a month. As a mom and son, $33,000 a month. So it's so impressive, so impressive. And no, and it is inspiring because like I can't even imagine like working, like my mom and I are so different. So the fact that you guys haven't wanted to murder each other, that's great. There's been times I get.